No part of making a movie or a film or a video is easy. And one of the things that is really difficult about making films and videos is finding the right location for that video or film. Luckily though, there's a lot of tools in place that allow for that particular part of the filmmaking process to go pretty smoothly. And I discovered another one that I think is the best tool yet. I'm Nick Friend. I make videos about making videos, so hopefully this is helpful to you when you're making your next video. Now, like I said in the intro, location scouts are a huge pain in the butt. They're fun, but they're difficult. And one of the things that makes them difficult is getting to those locations and seeing them in person, because that's the best way to kind of figure out what shots you want to get in a given location. Now, if there was a way for you to see that location and walk through that location without having to be there, it might change the way that all location scouts are always made. And I think that I found a way to do that, and it's with this, my phone. You can use your phone for a full location scout. I'll show you what I mean. Future Nick here. It's an app called Polycam. Just thought that would be valuable information. So the way that it works is pretty cool because it uses the LiDAR scanner on your phone to actually scan the space that you're in. And what it does is it creates a 3D render of the entire space that you walk through, and it scans it pixel by pixel, or as they call it, voxel by voxel. A voxel, by the way, is a volumetric pixel, and that is basically a pixel that takes up 3D space rather than being a single point of information. Once it's done processing, you can actually send that file to somebody else to view. So for instance, if I have a producer or director that's not in town or otherwise won't be in town for a little while, I can send him the whole location and he can look at the location wherever he or she is. The really exciting stuff comes when you can send it to your cinematographer and your camera operators, because they can look at the location, and not only that, they can actually interact with it. And I'll show you what I mean. So let's pretend that for a second, I am a location scout. So I've just done a scan of the location that I need to work in, and I want to send that location to my director of photography who's somewhere else. Let's pretend he's in a park. We're here at a park. I've got my phone. I've scanned my apartment. And what I'm gonna go do is walk out into the middle of a field and do a location scout for a completely different place. Like, how are you not as mind blown as I am about this? And it's free. The goal here is to mimic a location scout outside of the location that we're actually in. There's nobody around, the whole place to myself. It's just dandelions, so this should work. All right, so for all intents and purposes, we're in my apartment now. There's my apartment, and then I click AR, and we're off to the races. You just kind of move your phone around to start it. So now we scale it up to a 1:1 scale. We put it over there, and now it's stuck in 3D space, and I can actually walk through it and interact with it just on my phone. It's like I'm in my own apartment, but I'm in the middle of a field. This is such a strange feeling. Oh my gosh. Right, so say for instance, I want to shoot straight on. So I can shoot straight on here, but I want the camera movement to be kind of like this. I move around. Like seriously, this is one of the coolest things I've ever seen. So that's one really interesting thing that you can do with this app. And I honestly think it is going to be a game changer for planning your shoots and planning them well and making sure that you use the most out of your time whenever you're shooting. But the other thing about this app is you can do photo scans of objects, and I'm going to show you what that's all about in just a second. All right, so we're in a location that's pretty simple, pretty straightforward, pretty plain, because I'm gonna try something called a photo scan inside of Polycam. Now, photo scans are a little bit different because what it does is it takes a series of photos and then stitches those photos together to create a Polycam scan. And that works really well for objects and smaller items if you want to place those items into an augmented reality situation. And so what I'm gonna do is, because I don't really have much, I'm gonna use the camera. I have done a few scans in the past, and I have discovered that more direct light and less shadows and dappled light does make for a better photo scan. So that location looks good to me. All right, so I'm gonna put you down and scan you. So the idea behind scanning an object for a video like this would be to, for instance, work on props and work on how a certain object can fit inside of a space when you're planning a shoot. So for instance, if I wanted to send this to props and they wanted to make some sort of like weathered or vintage or sci-fi based version of the object that I scanned, they can do that by modeling their version of the object off of the scan that I provided to them with what I actually took a bunch of photos of. I think I'm done, and what I'm gonna do is simply press done, and it's gonna save the data. You weren't there before. So now that I have my camera scanned, what I'm gonna do is scan this environment with the phone and place this camera next to itself. You'll see what I mean, I promise. This is my scan that I have here, as you can see. It's you! Then I just click AR, and you move the phone around, and there it goes. Now, it's not the best scan, but I think that's just because I didn't spend enough time actually scanning the object. But anyways, here you go. There's you. There's your doppelganger in 3D space, but I can go anywhere because it's tracked in 3D space using LiDAR. So I can then put this over here on the ground. If I want that camera, I'm pointing over there like there's something there. There's nothing there, it's fake. I can actually scale it up infinitely. Now watch this. There's a big camera. You ever want to know what it looks like on the underside of a C70? Well, there you go. Like seriously, this is ridiculous. I'm gonna show you what I'm looking at and you'll see what I mean. So like, can you see, as I'm walking around, I have a 7 foot tall C70. Is that not the most insane thing you've ever seen? There's nothing there. It's all on the phone. I don't think it's any surprise that AR and VR are going to have a big place in filmmaking and videography. And I think that apps like Polycam are making those kinds of technologies super accessible and very easy to use for newcomers to the space that still want to utilize the best technology that they have at their disposal. Being able to have a location that you can then show to somebody else across the country, across the globe even, is an invaluable way to not only save money, but also save time and also be clear about things that you need and things that you don't. It's just gonna speed up the entire process of creating content, especially at scale when you need to do something like a location scout. If you enjoy content like this, go ahead and subscribe on YouTube. I would really appreciate it. It means a lot. This is something that I want to do more and more. So please subscribe, like it, click the bell, all that stuff. Leave a comment, especially if you've used this app or want to use this app and you discover stuff that I didn't think of. I would love to hear what you think about this technology.